Hello guys, welcome to ASM Education. I hope y'all are doing good and are enjoying the videos that I've put so far. So today I'm going to start a very special series. This series is going to be based on consulting. So as most of y'all must have heard somewhere down the line, somewhere when you were a kid, that there's this company, this magical company called McKinsey. Now, what does McKinsey do? McKinsey is a consulting firm. It is one of the big three consulting firms and is more than 100 years old. So what McKinsey does basically is it consults various businesses on how they should improve their business practices. Uh, so this book will help a lot of people who are interested in either making a career in consultancy. It will make them understand what consultancy is, why they should do consultancy, what profile, what work will they do when they enter consultancy. Secondly, and more importantly, it will help those businessmen who want to understand how they can improve and streamline their business processes. So let's begin. This was just a brief introduction. The book is The McKinsey Way. The author is Ethan M. Raziel. Now let's just see a brief background of the author. Yeah, so Mr. Ethan was a consultant in McKinsey's New York office. His clients included major companies in finance, telecom, computer, and consumer goods sectors. Prior to McKinsey, he earned an MBA from Wharton. Wharton, if you all don't know, it is one of the top MBA schools in the world. It comes in the top 10. Prior to that, he was an equity fund manager at Mercury Asset Management in London, and also he was an investment banker. So he knows his in and out of finance, and then he entered into consultancy. So moving on, let's proceed to the book. I will make videos chapter wise. So as you can see, this book has a lot of chapters. We will cover each chapter one by one in detail. So there are about 21 chapters. The book is divided into five parts. The first three parts are mainly about how consulting works, and second, the fourth and fifth part are more about the author's personal experiences, how he survived and how one should survive at McKinsey, and what are the what is life after you're done with McKinsey. So let's just get back to the index for once. As you can see, the part one is the McKinsey way of thinking about business problems. Part two is the McKinsey way of working to solve the business problems, and part three is the McKinsey way of selling solutions. So in these three parts, we'll understand how they think about the business problems. Once they see a business problem, how do they analyze it? What are the first steps they take? Then, once they've analyzed what the problem is, what solutions do they find? How do they find how to handle the situation, how much time it will take, what effects it can have on the daily working of the business. All those things will be analyzed over there. Then the third part, how do they sell the part one and part two of their approach to the client. That is what we learn in this book. Okay, so now moving forward, just a brief about McKinsey. McKinsey was founded in 1923. It is one of the world's most successful strategic consulting firms. The other big four companies like the Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, and EY, they may have larger strategy practices than McKinsey, but McKinsey is certainly the most prestigious. And then the author has gone about how the people who ex McKinseyites, how they've gone to turn around the world, how McKinsey consults even to the government. Uh, all those things are covered here. The author has worked in McKinsey as an associate from 1989 to 1992. You all might wonder with how can he write a book about how McKinsey works when he has just 3 years of work ex and that though at the beginning level. But that's not how it is. After this, the author has spoken to a lot of people who worked at McKinsey, and from their insights, he has written this book. So without a further ado, let's move on to part one, the McKinsey way of thinking about business problems. So here he tells a very interesting and very very special principle by which all McKinseyites live by. One is that problem solving isn't a thing that you do at McKinsey; it is what you do at McKinsey. So is your it's problem solving is not just a part of your job description, it is your job description. You are going to solve problems, real life problems, when you're at McKinsey. uh, and the approach, the way you look at problems is that you have to approach everything and think of ways how you can make it better, how it could work better, how it could be more efficient, how it could be cheaper, how can the business expand. So you have to find more approaches of doing things better. So now this was the first part, like this is the first part, the McKinsey way of thinking about business problems. In that, the first chapter talks about building the solution. uh, for any client's problem that you will ever see at McKinsey, the solution will have three things. The solution will be fact based. That is one very important thing that you must remember. It is a building block of this book. The solution will be fact based, the solution will be rigidly structured, and the solution will be hypothesis driven. Now, what is hypothesis driven? We will see. Let's see. Let's proceed. These are the three things. Now, notice three. At McKinsey, three is a magic number. Any simple or complex question you ask to a McKinseyite, he will say that there are three reasons for this. Most of the things which are structured in McKinsey to have three answers to it. Even the hierarchy for consultants, in the descending order that a consultant should remember, that this is the hierarchy of importance that he has to follow, is that the client is of the paramount importance, then comes the firm, and then comes the individual. So three is a magical number at McKinsey, as you can see. Now, as you saw that the solution will have three facets to it. The first one is facts. So facts are friendly. So facts are friendly. ऐसा हम क्यों कहते हैं वो देखते हैं. Problem solving at the firm begins with facts. So the first step of your problem solving is facts. On the first day of the engagement, what is an engagement in whatever projects or clients these guys have? They are called engagements. So the terminology, the lingo that McKinseyites use is engagement. So the problem solving starts with facts. Then they drop an initial hypothesis, then they gather the facts to necessary the facts which are necessary to support or refute it. So for example, they get some facts, then they make an hypothesis around those facts, then they get more facts to support or refute the hypothesis. And if they support the hypothesis, then they can continue in that lines of thoughts. If they refute it, then they make another hypothesis and then again support or refute it. At the start of your time at McKinsey, gathering and analyzing facts is your raison d'etre. So that is the purpose of your existence. So gathering at the start of your time, that is when you are an associate at McKinsey, the entire purpose of your existence is gathering and analyzing facts. High quality. So there is a lot of language that McKinseyites use in their terminology, but the gist of it is high quality analysis of the components of the problem combined with an aggressive attitude towards fact gathering. Now you'll ask, why the hell are facts so important? Shouldn't an opinion be so important, or shouldn't the analysis of the fact be important? But yeah, they are, but the facts are important themselves, and it is said for two reasons. First, facts compensate for lack of gut instinct. So when you go and work at a consultancy firm, you'll realize that most consultants are generalists. They know a little about a lot of things initially, and as in when they work more, they gain more experience, maybe they'll know a lot of things. But for example, they will still know less than a person who runs that business day in and day out. For example, what the author has written is that even at this point, however, they will still know less about, say, inventory management practices for perishable foodstuffs than the folks who have been running the distribution operations of Stop and Shop for the last 10 years. Gut instinct might tell those folks here, they are referring to Stop and Shop's people who run the Stop and Shop operations, the solution to an inventory problem management. They may have that solution in 10 seconds, but McKinseyites will follow the process, and he will go through the facts first. Secondly, facts bridge the credibility gap. So just imagine what the profile of an associate might be. He or she would have graduated from a good grad school. He might be an engineer, or he might be a person of finance. He must have had some 2.5 years of work ex, 3.5 years of work ex before MBA. Then he does a 2-year MBA from one of the top B schools, and then at the age of around, he or she will be around say 27. That is between the mid 20s to early 30s. An associate, the age of an associate will be in that bracket. How the hell will he advise a guy who has been running a business for 25-30 years? How will he advise a CEO who's been running this Fortune 500 company for years? Right? The CEO will have no reason to believe the words of a young 27-year-old inexperienced guy. But if that guy backs everything he says with facts, then the CEO might have some reason to believe what he says. So here we conclude why facts are friendly. Now let's move on to the next topic. Feel free to be MECE. Now you'll ask, what the hell is MECE? MECE stands for mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. And it is the sine qua non of the problem solving process. So the most essential condition to solve any problem at McKinsey is to be MECE. What does mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive means? It means that any two solutions should not overlap, and the solutions should cover all the possible variety of solutions. So, and this is a process that you have to internalize if you're working at McKinsey. Every document, every presentation, every email, every voicemail that you produce at McKinsey is supposed to be MECE. MECE is a structured way of thinking. It helps you think with maximum clarity and maximum completeness. You will be extremely clear and specific about what you want to say. There will be no overlapping. There, you will not miss out on anything. Your communication will be complete. And me starts at the top level of your solution, the list. So whenever the first step of your problem of the solution is that you find out the problem, and you try to make a comprehensive and exhaustive and exclusive list of all the issues and problems that you think can happen. Now you will consider, okay, so here the author has given some examples of how lists should be made. You all can read that. That is not the main idea, the thought process. We are just going to discuss the thought process and not the examples. A good McKinsey issue list contains neither fewer than two nor more than five top line issues. So when you are writing about the problems, the issues that a business is facing, if you write very few problems, then then it is not complete. But if you write too many, then so any problem list that they make, they will have at least two more, not more than five top line issues. Yeah, if you still consider that there are a lot of other issues that should be considered, then make a separate topic called as other issues, and then write down the other issues. uh, Now we'll talk about the hypothesis. Solving the problem at the first meeting, that's the hypothesis. So what is your initial hypothesis? IH, it is your problem solving map. It is a basic structure, a basic map of what you're going to do, what the issue is, how you will proceed. So defining the IH, essence of the IH is to figure out the solution to the problem before you start. So it might sound weird. If you have not started, then how will you figure out the solution? That is why we make a roadmap. For example, if you want to drive to a restaurant, uh, you know half the way, and after that you just know the direction. Say for example, here the author has used the example of let's just read it. Drive to a restaurant in a part of the town you don't know. Third left off Smith Street and then take the first right. So you know how to get to Smith Street, and after that you'll just follow the directions from there. So IH also works the same way. It is a roadmap to take you from your problem to your solution. If your IH is correct, then solving the problem means filling in the details of the map through factual analysis. If your IH is correct, then you have the map ready. You just have to fill in the blanks that are left. Uh, so remember, your IH is merely a theory to be proved or disproved. It is not the answer. If your IH is correct, then a few months down the road, it'll be the first slide of your presentation, and it'll be the base on which your entire consultancy engagement will work on. If it turns out to be wrong, then there's nothing to lose. Then by proving it wrong, you will have enough information to move toward the right answer. So now, how do you generate the IH? The IH emerges from the combination of facts and structure. So again, going back to the building block facts, you need a fact and you need to have structure. The first step in generating an IH is you must start with the facts. Also, you should not, okay, so for example, you need facts, but you should also have the right facts. You can't start digging facts on random or related topics. So one, SEM. Now, what is an SEM? An SEM is a senior engagement partner at McKinsey. Uh, so at the start of an engage, so his experience, he's sharing his experience. At the start of an engagement, I try to digest as much of our fact base as possible. No, remember, he's talking about a fact base, not specific facts. He would sit down with trade publications in that industry for hours and try to absorb some things, some flavor of the industry, what the jargons are, what the current industry issues are, who the big players are, how they function, what are the threats the industry is facing. He would just get an overview of all these. He would seek out the people of the firm. Okay, so whenever we refer to the firm refers to McKinsey, who knew about this particular industry. This is the quickest and most efficient way to get up to speed. If you try to do all the research on your own, try to gather all the facts on your own, then it'll take much more time and it will not be as efficient. Okay, also when generating an IH, you don't need to have all the facts, just enough to have a good overview of the industry and the problem. Once you have a good overview on industry, then you will be educated enough to dig deep into the right facts. Okay, like we said, IH emerges from facts and a structure. So facts there by themselves are not enough. To structure your IH, you need to begin by breaking the problem into its components. So each problem will have some causes. So you have to break that problem into those components, the key drivers. And next, you have to make an actionable recommendation regarding each driver. You have to give an actionable recommendation. You cannot say that okay, your profits are generally affected by the weather, so let's hope that the weather is good this time. No, you have to, your recommendation should be something in the lines of, we must reduce our vulnerability to changes in the weather. That is an actionable top line recommendation. The next step is you take each top line recommendation and break it down to the level of issues. If recommendation is correct, what issues does it raise? You have to go deeper and deeper in the problem after this. So the end product of this exercise is what McKinsey calls the issue tree. So once you start, you have facts and you have a structure, the outcome that is expected from you is the issue tree. Starts with the IH and branch out at each issue. Your issue tree will look like something like this. So for example, you want to increase the sales. So first can be change the sales strategy, improve the marketing strategy, reduce the unit cost. So these are the three main pillars on which you will further go deeper into. So to change the sales strategy, maybe you'll reorganize the sales force, increase the skill base, you'll change the promotion strategy. To improve the marketing, you will talk about the product quality, packaging, consumer advertising. To reduce the cost, you will talk about raw materials, production and distribution, all these things. Once you've prepared the hypothesis, you will test it. Is it the best possible hypothesis that you could devise? You should think about that. Is it comprehensive? Has it covered all the issues? Have you considered all the drivers? Are your recommendations actionable and provable? They should not be some general and infeasible recommendations. Also, you should remember that the IH produced by a team is much more comprehensive, much more thought of, much more diverse, much more foolproof than a IH made by a single individual, because we are poor critics of our own thinking. So as an employee of McKinsey, you should learn to pick apart the ideas of your team. You should try to question each and everything. You should try to play the devil's advocate, because if you do it at the team level, there will be no issues when implementing it at the client level. Everyone should be prepared to push your teammates' thinking and test each new idea. Ask, what if we change this? What if we push that? How about looking at this way? This will bring in much more views and will bring much more diversity to your project. So here, this is it. This is the end to the part one of the chapter. I hope you like the video, and I hope this has done some value addition to your day. Thank you for visiting ASM Education. Please share and subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.